like octopus knives. Every move measured and sharp. Every pawn has a reason on the board. Every square counts, black and white, every square real. He read the board like a map, and he moved into kill. Oh. One step, two step, guard the king. Hear the clock, read the pin. We were born for the end game. We were built to win. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds. Kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Hey, 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 hey.
From Lagos down to Abuja, from Port Harcourt to Osun, over 1,000 on the black side, but the king is not moved.
Power in the opening, pressure through the bush. When they tried to trap the king, he sacrificed the rook. One step, two step, guard the king. Hear the clock, read the pin. We were born for the end game. We were built to win. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds. Kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Fianchetto bishops rise. Caro comes into the skies. When we open full, we will march and rule. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds. Kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Fianchetto bishops rise. Caro comes into the skies. When we open full, we will march and rule. like octopus knives. Every move measured and sharp. Every pawn has a reason on the board. Every square counts, black and white, every square real. He read the board like a map, and he moved in to kill. Oh. One step, two step, guard the king, hear the clock, read the pin. We were born for the end game, we were built to win. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds, kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Hey, 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 hey.
From Lagos down to Abuja, from Port Harcourt to Osun, over 1,000 on the black side, but the king is not moved.
Power in the opening, pressure through the bush. When they tried to trap the king, he sacrificed the root. One step, two step, guard the king. Hear the clock, read the pin. We were born for the end game, we were built to win. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds, kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of a mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Fianchetto bishops rise, caro comes into the skies. When we open full, we will march and rule. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds, kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Fianchetto bishops rise, caro comes into the skies. When we open full, we will march and rule. like octopus knives. Every move measured and sharp. Every pawn has a reason on the board. Every square counts, black and white, every square real. He read the board like a map, and he moved into kill. Oh. One step, two step, guard the king. Hear the clock, read the pin. We were born for the end game. We were built to win. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds. Kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Hey, 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 hey.
From Lagos down to Abuja, from Port Harcourt to Osun, over 1,000 on the black side, but the king is not moved.
Power in the opening, pressure through the bush. When they tried to trap the king, he sacrificed the rook. One step, two step, guard the king. Hear the clock, read the pin. We were born for the end game. We were built to win. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds. Kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Fianchetto bishops rise. Caro comes into the skies. When we open full, we will march and rule. Chess, chess, mind of a king. Chess, chess, queens in the ring. Necl, board of minds. Kings and queens lead the line. Chess, chess, board of the mind. Chess, chess, 64 lines. If the board comes closing in, we move and check again. Fianchetto bishops rise. Caro comes into the skies. When we open full, we will march and rule.
All right, guys, welcome to another week of the Necl League. This is week 2. Last week we had some interesting games. We saw Towaise Collins coming first in an interesting tournament. Okay, so this week we have some of the favorites playing. We have Okema Kinde, we have Yehudi, and a lot of favorites playing this week as well. Okay, so as you know, I am FM Callistos, here to give you live analysis of the games and just to keep it lively, right? So Toby is not here with me today, but hopefully he'll be with us next week. All right, so let's go to the games. We're going to start with just to walk through the round 1 games. Let's see. Okay, so here we have Toluwanimi, one of the favorites, versus Kolwan. Okay, so Tolu, as usual, is the favorite because you can't play against Tolu in this tournament, and you would be expecting to be among the you'll be expecting to win such a game, right? It's very rare to get such an opponent. So let's see how this game went. So it's quite an interesting game. So Tolu is playing black, while Cole is playing white. So we had E4, E5, 9C3, an interesting line. I used to play this back then. It's called the Vienna game, right? 9C3, and after Bishop C5, you want to go F4, right? If you really want to be aggressive, you have to go F4 and get into all of those complications, right? So Bishop C4, Knight F6. Playing this opening this way doesn't give you much of an advantage as white. Okay, so Tolu already has a slightly better position at this point. Okay, we have some regular developments here. You have to play h3 because if you don't play h3, bishop g4 is coming with tempo. So h3, castles, d3. We have bishop e6 on the board. And now he captured. That's quite a bad decision because you're opening the f5 for this rook. Okay. And that's not a good decision to make. It's like you are arranging an attack for your opponent. He had nothing, but now you're making it very good for him. Okay, so we have bishop g5 trying to slow down the attack. h3, very good move, right? So from this point onwards, Solo already has a solid advantage. Okay, knight f4. This is just caution, right? So we can move on. Let's see. So Tolu won this game. And then we have some of the favorites. NSBS Presido, he also won against Lawrence. And then we have Kingsley. Kingsley was one of the top performers from last week. And he also won his round one game against OJ. OJ is one of the older players. I'm surprised he's playing. Unless it's a different OJ. Well, the OJ I know is one of the top Univen players back then. Right. So let's move on to round 2 games. Okay. So we had Toluwanimi versus Nikki Knights. Okay. Oh, not Tolu. We have Lapite, right? So Lapite playing white against Nikki Knights. Of course, Lapite won in one of the favorites. So we have 2 titled players in this tournament, 2 candidate masters, Oluwado Tumi Lapite and Toluwanimi, 2 top players in the Nigerian chess space. Okay. So round 2, we had some interesting games. But the way these tournaments are, the favorites always win in the early rounds because they don't get to play opponents at the same level as them. Okay, so we should expect all of the favorites to win their games. We also have Nolly playing this week as well. One of the ladies that participated last week, right? So she's still playing this week. Okay, so now let's try to move on to the live games. Okay, round 4 games. I think at this point we still don't have a top match, right? Still lower rated players playing against higher rated players. So the results are quite predictable. Here we have Lapite versus De Constantine, knight f3, d5, e3. The thing about Lapite, he would always stick to his system. It doesn't go away from it. e6, we have c4, knight f6, knight c3, bishop e7, and you can bet on Lapite to go b3. Right? This is his standard system. He has played it a lot of times. Right? So castles. So far, Black has played very well. Nothing too ambitious, just regular development. Right? Rook e8 is an interesting move. Probably not the best, right? But perhaps he should have just continued developing, improve the knight. Right? This is another way to play. Or you go c6. There are many other options. Okay, but he played rook e8. And then we had d4. Okay. All right. So eventually Lapite won this game. Right. With an interesting 9 fork, 9 times f7, winning the queen. Okay. So we have Kingsley versus Udeshi. Kingsley is still one of the favorites as well. I think he came third last week, so we're expecting a good performance from him. It was a queen blunder. Quite interesting. How do you blunder your queen? What happened? 9d6, 9d4. So 9d4 threatens knight f3, winning the queen. And it also threatens queen times g2. Okay, so he played king g1. This is a blunder. So now I understand why he lost his queen, because bishop times g2 is coming and you don't have a defense against that. Okay, because if you capture with your knight, as what happened in the game, then you are losing your queen. Right. So in this position, he resigned. Okay. So let's see the game. Okay, we've seen this already. Lapite versus Constantine. We have Bot Favor playing as well. Okay. So Bot Favor is one of the top players from Unilag. He's playing against Ozemoje Victoria. Okay, this is another top lady in Nigerian chess. Of course, Bot Favor is the favorite, being rated over 2000, and Victoria being 1-7. So let's see the final moments of this game. We had an interesting weekend game, right? So one thing you notice, the white king is quite centralized. So having your king centralized in the end game is a big plus, right? Because in the end game, that's when your king should come to life. You get to play with your king. Your king gets to contribute meaningfully to the game, right? So in the end game, you want to bring your king towards the center. Yes, as the game progresses in the opening, you're told to leave your king castled, right? Safe from all of the dangers. But as the game progresses, the king becomes a powerful piece. It becomes the most powerful piece in the end game, right? Because there are no queens. So if you're able to position your king very well, you're able to use it very well, it becomes easy to win. Just like in this position, you can see that the pawns are equal. White has 3 pawns, black has 3 pawns on the queen side, white has 2 pawns on the king side, black has 2 pawns on the queen side, 2 rooks as well. So material is equal, but the difference in activity is a big factor here. Okay, so rook a8 going into the defense, and just rook e2. Now we have a strong battery on the e file. Rook e8. And after rook e7, the game is about to end because a very strong attack is coming. You defend the pawn, and then slowly you just activate the king, and it's a winning endgame. I think in this moment she missed a tactic here, right? Instead of king moves, she could have captured on d5, right? So guys, it's very important you solve your tactics. You have to be aware of these moments, right? So she could have gained material at this point. She still was because of the active white king, but still a very good game, right? So kudos to her. She played very well, getting to this position. Well, but Favor came out victorious in the end. Okay, so Bot is one of the favorites as well. We have Bot, we have Kingsley, we have Lapite, we have Yehudi, and then we have Tolu as well. Okay. So let's see, the champion from last week, he's not playing this week. Okay, so let's see Yehudi's game. Okay. So we'll see Yehudi's game after the break.
Would this be each for the best esports team right now? So we get to step back to the lobby. Now they're clear right now for the Ali gamers.
And they keep getting knocked. It's down. Who then sends them back to the lobby? And it is Bent. Bent esports will come.
Do you love playing video games?
Or a professional live streamer in gaming? You can also step into the light as a professional esports player representing one of the biggest teams in Nigeria or Africa. So I guess you've landed on the right page, because here we take you into the world of games, gamers, and gaming. From tournament organizing to game shows, podcasts, you name it. You get to meet the best of the best in the esports industry right on this page. So make sure you share to someone, follow, and also subscribe to all our platforms. We're Game Evo Esports, the world of games, gamers, and gaming.
Time to wake up to a new reality.
Life doesn't wait. Bills don't wait. Opportunities don't wait. Emergencies don't wait. So why should your transactions? With Redeema, you can convert your crypto and gift cards to cash in seconds. Download the Redeema app today and get started.
Would this be each for the best esports team right now? So we get to step back to the lobby. Now they're clear right now for the Ali gamers.
And they keep getting knocked. It's down. Who then sends them back to the lobby? And it is Bent. Bent esports will come.
Do you love playing video games?
Or a professional live streamer in gaming? You can also step into the light as a professional esports player representing one of the biggest teams in Nigeria or Africa. So I guess you've landed on the right page, because here we take you into the world of games, gamers, and gaming. From tournament organizing to game shows, podcasts, you name it. You get to meet the best of the best in the esports industry right on this page. So make sure you share to someone, follow, and also subscribe to all our platforms. We're Game Evo Esports, the world of games, gamers, and gaming.
Time to wake up to a new reality.
Life doesn't wait. Bills don't wait. Opportunities don't wait. Emergencies don't wait. So why should your transactions? With Redeema.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we have a game here between David and Ajit. David is one of the top blitz players in Nigeria. Everyone knows him, GM Dalods, right? So this is quite an interesting game. We already have rook times G7. This will be bloody, right? Because the king is already exposed. King captures on G7, and then we have Queen G4. He's losing the knight. He's losing everything on the board, right? This is just disastrous. It's just disastrous. Next, we are going to have 9 takes on e7, right? So this is resignable, if that's a word, right? So one interesting game we have right now, I think we should focus on that, is the game between two candidate masters, Lapite and Toluwanimi. Right? The thing about top players in Nigeria is that we've played ourselves so much that whenever we get to play each other, it's like a repeat of what has been played already, right? If you understand what I mean. So I believe this game began, Tolu is black, Lapite is white. So surely it began with knight f3, right? Knight f3, c4. That is Lapite's trademark. Yes, knight f3 as we predicted, okay? But yeah, Lapite went for an interesting idea. It seems like preparation, honestly. And it looks like a good preparation, right? So e6, we have knight c3, d5, e3, all normal moves. We've seen Lapite play this a million times. But Tolu is also experienced with positions like this, right? He has played this as black a lot of times. So he captured on c4, b takes c4. All of this is still theory. Bishop b7, castles, rook g1. A very, very interesting move. I think the first time I saw this idea, the very first time was quite a long time ago. A game between, I believe, FIDE Master Osunfuyi and Bibola, right? Popularly called Young GM. He played this idea in the national championship where he went rook g1 very early, g4, g5, and we have a crazy attack. So that's the same idea Lapita is going for here. Tolu responds with b6, and then we have g4. A very aggressive idea, going for the king. Bishop b7, d3, and then we have knight d7. This is quite an interesting move. In chess, this is what we call a prophylactic move, right? You are taking your knight back to d7. Why? Because g5 is about to come with an attack on the knight. So before the attack comes, you prevent it, right? In chess, we call this prophylaxis. Okay, so bishop e2, knight c6, and then we have knight e4 going for the attack. Next is going to play g5, and then I believe there will be a sacrifice on f6. Okay, the knight went back to f6, and then we have knight g3, knight d7. Tolu is basically just waiting to see how the attack will play out. Knight f6, knight takes g7, brilliancy, right? Because of this pin, right? The bishop is indirectly protecting g7. So this would help white to open some lines of attack. King captures, we have g5, king h8, queen d7. This is very important, right? In chess, one thing you would learn very early is that the threat is often greater than the execution, right? So whenever you have a threat, you want to leave the threat on the board for as long as possible. Obviously, you don't leave it forever, right? But you want to leave the threat there. Let your opponents worry about that threat for as long as you can, right? You don't have to cash in immediately. Okay, so rook g1, queen c3, adding more attack to the long diagonal. We have rook g7, finally breaking that chain, but this feels like a blunder. Okay, I think the main idea here is that rook times g1 comes with a check. Okay, so we have g takes f6, rook times g1 check. Very important. This move has to be a check. Else, white would capture on e7 with a tempo, right? So king d2 rather. Bishop takes f6, captures, and we have a lot of exchanges, right? So I believe in this position, a better move would have been knight g5. Right, knight g5 is an interesting move to play here. Okay, but instead he played h4, which is also not a bad move. Right, so h4. This is not working. Okay, yes, h4, h6. We have d4, and then knight b4. So a lot of exchanges is going to happen, and we're going to get to a very boring endgame, right? And I believe Tolu would come out on top in this endgame. Being Tolu is famously called the endgame boy, right? Because of his play in the endgame. Okay. So let's see some other games. Yeah, we have former Nigerian #1, right? So as at 2019 thereabouts, Jessica was the top lady in Nigerian chess, right? So she's playing against Boluski, and you can see how brutal the game was, right? And she's on 3 points, so she shouldn't be ruled out among the top contenders. So one interesting thing about this week is that we have 3 top ladies playing. We have Jessica, we have Victoria, and we also have Nolly from Delsu, right? So it's quite an interesting week. We also have some new ladies coming to the field. We have PA playing against Olutuntobi, right? Then we have Yehudi, one of the favorites, playing against Constantine, right? So it's quite some interesting games we have this week. Okay, I think this game is still on. My assessment of this position is White is clearly winning, right? You already see that he has 6 pawns to Black's 4 pawns, right? So in terms of material, you already know that White is clearly winning. And having the bishop pair in an open position like this is a big strength. You are able to play on both sides of the board equally compared to the knights, right? The knight is a slow unit. So for the knights to move from one end of the board to the other, it takes quite a long time. Interestingly, Black won this game. Was there a blunder? Yeah, there was a queen blunder. Very interesting. Okay, so that's the thing about Blitz, right? We can do all of the analysis, but if you can't play well under time pressure, you would still lose, right? So there is a balance. You have to find the balance between playing fast and playing well. All right, so let's see the standings. So we know our tournament leaders. We have King Ayodeji at the top. Oh, guys, I just saw one of our top players in Nigeria. I didn't mention him earlier because his title is not attached to his name right now. I am Oluwafemi Balogun, the former national champion. I think he was national champion in 2022, right? One of the top players in Nigeria. So, guys, this week is actually much tougher than last week. We have about 3 players from the top 10 in Nigeria playing this tournament. So, you know you are in for some interesting games. So we have Balogun, we have Tolu, Lapite, Botfavor, Daniel, all of the usual names. I think the 2 unusual names here, which are probably great players themselves, still performing very well with 5 wins out of 5. We have Ajiteru and King Ayodeji leading the pack. All right. And then we have Daniel as well. Daniel is in 7th place. I think he drew a game. We have Phoenix. All right. So that's our standings as at round 6. All right, guys. So let's look at some round 6 games. We have Tolu versus Balogun. Very, very interesting game. This is a game I really want to watch. He's a very good classical player, but in Blitz most times he struggles to maintain how would I call it? He struggles to maintain the tempo of the game, right? Being able to play fast, being able to play well, all of those struggles, right? So yeah, we see he's playing against Tolu. Tolu is playing white, Balogun with the black pieces, and Balogun already has a significant advantage. because the white king is stuck in the center at this moment, and that's a very big deal, right? Having your king in the center is never a good thing in chess. Right? So let's see if Tolu would be able to rescue himself from this. What just happened? That was a blunder. Wow. Bishop e7, queen takes g2, and Tolu has lost this game. Right. So that was a very interesting game from Balogun. Let's see how the game began. Right, because Tolu has a very bad position in the opening, so that means the opening was quite interesting. So Balogun played the peg defense with knight f6 and d6, and then we had knight c3, f4, an interesting move, right? So Balogun has a lot of experience playing this line. This was his main line back then before he switched to more safer defenses, I would say that, right? But he has a lot of experience playing the peg defense. So 9d7, and then we have knight f3, captures on d4, queen captures, d6, queen e3. This is an interesting move. I really don't know if they are still in theory, right? I don't have much experience playing this particular opening. But queen e3 is an interesting move, right? But it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to castle king side, right, it makes a lot of sense. d4. Knight g4. At this point, he's already in some sort of risk, right? Because the black king is about to castle and he has not castled. Right, so black castle, yeah. So this is what led to the bad position. We have bishop d3, but it's quite late to do all of that. The king is already stuck in the center. So I believe instead of playing e5 here, he probably should have gone bishop c4. Right, bishop c4 was a solid option. Develop your pieces, and eventually you go e5. But he played e5 quite early, and it ended up very badly. It ended up very badly with a queen blunder. Okay, so Balogun came out on top in the game between himself and Lapite. So it's himself and Tolu, right? So we have Lapite's game here. Lapite played against Yiga. Sorry, I'm murdering that username, but it's quite a difficult name to pronounce. Okay, but Lapite playing black, he obviously has a better position. The white king is exposed on c1. There are opportunities to trap the queen, right? So this queen might be stuck on the same file as the king. So there are a lot of dangers there. But white is holding on, right? He's still playing well, trying to keep his position solid. Ideally, if I'm playing white in this position, I would want to get my king and queen off these dangerous diagonal as soon as possible. This dangerous file, rather, as soon as possible. But so far, white is holding his own, right? His pieces do not look bad, right? If he's able to achieve rook c4 and then advance this pawn, this will be quite a strong pawn. I think Lapite has to be very careful, right? And that's the thing about being a top player. Sometimes you play against a lower rated player and you don't expect them to play well, but occasionally they play well and you have to be ready for it. Right? You have to be ready for it because you can't be caught off guard by a lower rated opponent and be unable to perform. And that would be very bad. So let's hope Lapite would be able to come out on top in this game. So let's see the game between both Favor and Daniel. This is also a very top game between two of the favorites. So Bot Favor is quite a fast player, right? If you played him before, you would testify to the fact that he knows how to play Blitz very well. I'll say that, right? And Daniel, one of the favorites as well. So the thing about Daniel is when it comes to Blitz tournaments in Nigeria, and you see Daniel in that tournament, just be ready, right? Because his Blitz play is very, very good. Okay. So this is quite an interesting game. Both sides have a queen and a bishop, and they have 2 pawns. But the difference here is that black's pawns provide shelter for his king. Meanwhile, the white's pawns are too weak. So it's difficult for white. It's difficult for white to keep up in such a position because there are always checks all over the place. And now black is slowly arranging checkmates. So white has to be very careful. I'm waiting for black to win this, actually, simply because he has a safer king, right? That's a very huge factor in such positions. Okay. So we have entered into a bishop endgame, right? So one thing about having such a bishop endgame is that having bishop of the same color, you want your pawns to be on opposite color.